Okay, good evening again. Yeah, we continue with the another chapter of Saint Dymphnas Playbook, and this is the section that um, kind of let's go a little bit over. We started with contents with depression, and we have a total of 4 chapters in that section. We had anxiety, that's five chapters. I'm sorry, 4 chapters, and then we have the section of trauma, which had also 4 chapters. And now we are on the fourth section of the book, which is relationships. And this is the topic is feeling stagnant. Lord, the one you love is going nowhere fast. Uh, what does stagnant? I was looking at the definition of stagnant, being stagnant, stagnant, and the definition that is said the definition is not advancing or developing. Um, and the stagnant on this section of this book is kind of it's a little more geared toward relationships with your spouse or your or it could be your better half. It's not too much related to other topics, also with God. So, but it's also stagnant. It affects many people, and besides the relationship that it can happen, it also could be at work related. It could be it could be a home doing something that you did before, and for some reason you're stagnant. You're not growing anymore. It could be your something you're doing at another location, maybe the volunteer work, and for some reason you lost that glow, the desire, the motivation, and you just become you feel that you're not going anywhere. So stagnant, being stagnant, it applies to different topics. Um, on this section, feeling stagnant, which is section 14, it says, and it talks about a couple that they had an opportunity to get together, and plan have a romantic evening, just be loving to each other and and relax and talk. But instead of doing that, uh, one of the couples, they chose to go ahead and just turn TV on and zone out without saying a word. And after that, after a couple hours of watching TV, they went to sleep. And that's something that sometimes in a lot of couples, it plays out every night. It's a cycle. And so it's like you lost that fire, the flame, the desire, the motivation. And if we don't take time to work on our relationships, um, to make an effort into and to to share and accept the love, we're gonna go down fast. And that feeling of being stagnant in a relationship is it's going to make you feel like you know you're losing the interest in your partner. You're losing the interest in being somebody for a long period of time. You're going to start losing the interest in, well, I should say, you're going to start thinking about possibly, hi, you know what, maybe if I was to spend time with somebody else, I would have been happier, or I would have been doing something, I would have been doing much better. You feel that you're not going anywhere in your relationship with the person that you're with. But it says that relationships take effort, may be a cliche, but we have to know in our hearts that it is true. You have to grow, you have to work on your relationships. It's like a gardener. A gardener, if you love to grow plants or grow flowers, if you don't take care of the garden, the weeds are going to come over. They're going to grow, and they're going to overgrow over the beautiful garden that you might have had. If you don't water it, those flowers or those plants are going to die. So the same thing with relationships with our loved ones. well, especially with our spouse or our partner. We need to work on that. It's got to be an active participation to be able to grow and and make it a interesting and an enjoyable walk together, in a path of life. So, sometimes it says that on the book, it says sometimes it's okay to feel down, to feel like you're not going, it's hurting you, but you're not feeling like you're up to par. But that's okay as long as you don't allow it to continue on, because then it can fester into something else that can really destroy your relationship. It says that if you need to take care of yourself first before you can take care of somebody else. So if you're having if you're going through some sort of issues, well, it could be work related or emotionally related, you can't help your partner if you don't know what you're going through. You need to be able to um, work through that as a couple, so you can resolve that. So then you can help somebody else with their issues also. Uh, the Okay, it's also in the book states that if you go into certain problems, you can actually go through the book, go through the earlier chapters, and they can and you can probably find out through the earlier chapters that you can associate with the feelings or the problems you're going through right now. And if you can identify that, that will help you to be able to address it or actually face it, or actually to help you work through it. You see, it says the other section is a relationship becoming stagnant is more than just being bored with each other. It says that there's a difference between being stagnant in a relationship and simply being bored. Being bored in a relationship can pop up for various reasons, and it happens to all of us from time to time. It's we get on. Sometimes when it's just going to the same place, maybe watching the same movies or the same show, or going to get a burger at the same location. Yes, it's just doing the same thing over and over. It's like a habit. You don't make it exciting anymore, so you kind of get bored from the same things, doing the same things. Hey, let's watch a movie tonight and eat some popcorn. Well, hey, we did it for last week. Let's do something else. They said our relationships becoming stagnant, on the other hand, is more than it's more like a cancer that snakes in, grows because of our permission, and festers in all our interactions because of our acceptance. It says that if we allow that stagnation to continue, it will push us further and further into irritating arguments, cold behavior, which can be difficult to come back. And that's very true. I mean, if you're stagnant, you're going to be harsh with your partner. You're going to probably respond. And like we talk about Black to Divina, how we respond back to our partner instead of being understanding with words, we tear them down because we're just, we don't care. We lose that interest. We lose that desire, that motivation, the fire that we used to have, before. It says that a relationship that is becoming stagnant doesn't necessarily have blow up fights, angry words, or a partner sleeping on the couch. Instead, it involves a lot of autopilot behavior, the routines we carry out without giving much thought to them. And a bonus of conflict can also tip us off to a relationship becoming stagnant. Um, I don't know whether the book says that if you having a little discussion with your partner, it's kind of the way the book talks about it's kind of a constructive that can help you understand that there's going to be disagreements, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It could be a good thing because you're having a dialogue with your partner, especially if you don't agree or you don't agree or disagree with something. And communication, like I said, communication is one of the most important factors in any relationship. So it states that being ignoring conflict is not the best. Going through a conflict, not to say that it's probably a constructive conflict because you're just having a dialogue. You're having a a discussion, and that could be good for you. I don't know about angry words because that it can actually go into something else, and that can become destructive instead of being constructive. So also says that living a life on autopilot, allowing a relationship to become stagnant, eventually start to grind away on us, and eventually we realize that we have to do something. So what do we do? It says that to address a stagnant relationship, we have to start slow. Uh, you have to start with attainable goals. Uh, you have to, and like I said, and if you became stagnant in a relationship, that probably took months and months and months. It could have taken years. So you cannot overcome that over from the night from one night to the next. It's going to take time to work at it and resolve it. But it's feasible as long as you take an active role with your spouse or your partner to be able to figure out the issues that are creating that stagnancy in your relationship. It states also that it says that we have to be reasonable with our expectations and take one step at a time. Asking our partner what they think will be helpful is one of the most overlooked healthy coping skills when we find ourselves in this situation. So if we don't take our partner into consideration, we are trying to solve it ourselves. The only thing we're doing is actually hurting our relationship, because two heads are better than one. And sometimes the perspective from somebody else it's much better than you looking at it from your perspective, because you may be stuck on and thinking one way, whereas somebody else looking at it from a different point of view, they can actually help you see the problem and help you be able to solve it. It states also that we may spend time trying to cook up a plan to help alleviate the stagnancy without really understanding what the problem is. Or perhaps our partner has a specific way that they receive love that you will help them feel the relationship is moving into the right direction. But we show them love in a different way, and we miss the connection altogether. So we aren't going to get very far in our efforts unless we make sure we are starting on the same page. And that's one of the things too, and the book talks about that, is sometimes the person who's receiving love is not some people are givers, some people are receivers, some people they want to please you all the time. That's how they show their love toward you. Uh, so you need to find out what is the best way you can actually show love to the person, whether it will be possibly taking, and it's little things, maybe folding the clothes, show them that you care, maybe cooking breakfast for them. Um, Another thing too, telling them how well, that they're beautiful. Tell them that they look good. Tell them that in whatever they're doing, they're actually having progress in whatever endeavors they're going through. Ignoring that and not saying it is not the best solution or the best way to be able to get out of the stagnant relationship. Uh, and that's another thing too, is being grateful. It says along with communications, Simple ideas to work on at home that can help heal the stagnancy. Including staying positive, discussing things that we're grateful for, making a conscientious effort to stop assuming we know what are our partners thinking, and actively trying to help each other. That's true. Hey, sometimes we think we assume what our partner is wants without even asking. And that's the biggest mistake we can make, because I said we can't read their mind. I don't care how long we've been together with a person. Everybody's unique. We think differently. So trying to assume what somebody wants, what they want to do, where they want to go, um, what they would like to do for the day, assuming is the worst thing you can do. You have to actually be actively communicating with your partner so that you can at least get some sort of feedback and understand what they want, not what you think they want. And it says so that if we focus on a talk about our blessings in life, in our relationship, we will maintain a more positive attitude. And I think that's very true. Like I said, if we never sit down, or we sit down, we only talk about the bad things, and we don't talk about the blessings that we have received on a daily basis. Then we actually overlook what God has given us. The blessing of being able to be together as a couple, the blessing of being able to get up in the morning, eat breakfast or go to dinner, or go to the movies or go for a walk. So those little blessings that sometimes we have, um, they don't cost us anything. So sometimes we don't put any value to it, but they're very valuable in relationships, especially with um, in a long-term relationship with a partner. It also states that we have to be active listeners and reflect back what we think we're hearing, and allow our partner to clear up the assumptions we have developed and believe what our partner says. And I'm guilty of that, because sometimes uh, you're talking to somebody, and we have our nature is to try to respond without kind of taking a step back and say, I'm going to listen, and then I'll respond later, instead of trying to interject your ideas or your thoughts, or what you think it should be, what they want to hear in the middle of what they're trying to convey to you. So it's that's being active. Like I said, be a good listener. I think it's probably being a good listener is going to help us a lot. It says that going out of our way to be thoughtful is a big key towards showing love, commitment, and care for our partner. And it says also that tiny little surprises that cost us almost nothing can they have huge payoffs in our relationship, because they help our partner feel understood, appreciated, and loved. And it says also, imagine how powerful small acts like those can be in the midst of a stagnant relationship, where tensions and irritability run high. So those little things go a long ways. It's like we talk about the tongue. What we say, it's a sword. Our tongue is a sword of double edge. We can build or destroy. We can make them feel good, happy, beautiful, or we can tear them down and make them feel like they're not loved, ugly, and many other negative things that we can think about. It says, "Is there healing and relief up there?" It says that if we're going through if we're going through being stagnant, um, and we feel that it's kind of impossible to to go through it, uh, we need to seek help. We can't do it for ourselves. We have to find the strength to reach out for help. And that could be a couples therapy. Because if somebody is that if you go to a therapist, their objective is to, as an observer, is to help you from the outside, and because they want relationship to flourish, they don't want a relationship to fail. They don't have no emotional attachment uh, uh, to the interaction with the couple. They just want the best for you. It says that they want you both to thrive. And it states also, by the author says, I can assure you that there's nothing you can bring to therapy as a couple that a therapist hasn't heard before and help other couples through. So you're not the first one, like, so not like you should not be afraid that, what you're gonna say is going to surprise the therapist, because like I said, they just want to help you. For Catholics specifically, there's a lot of fear that going to couples therapy may result in the therapist recommending the couple split. And sadly, that keeps a lot of us from reaching out for help. It says it is worth remembering that a therapist's goal is to help you live the life you want to live. It's a couples therapist is going to engage in treatment with the goal of helping your relationship get whatever you want to go. If you're a Catholic couple who prioritize working through even the most difficult circumstances and staying together for life, tell your therapist that right out of the outset of therapy. So don't wait. You gotta be actively communicating with your therapist. A couples therapist will most likely help you pinpoint the root cause of the issue being presented in therapy. They'll coach you in some basic communication work, similar to the reflective and active listening covered in the previous chapter. Finally, they will help you develop healthier interactions, become more deeply connected on an emotional level, and strengthen the bond that has become stagnant. And I need to, Jolie, I need to take a little break. I gotta go to can you stop the recording for a second? We continue. It says what the Bible says about feeling stagnant. And I'll read this as Revelations 21:5. The one who sat on the throne said, behold, I make all things new. It says that God understands human nature. He understands that we will find ourselves in stagnant relationships, either with our partner or even with our God himself. He knows that and he still loves us. He still wants us to push forward through the difficulty, and he gives us a means to do it through his grace and those around us and those who are able to help us move forward. So we be able to, like I said, we have our fellowship, people within our church, people within our community that can help us also. God put people in front of us to help us also. We should not be able to try to do things by ourselves. It said there's a thread through both the Old and the New Testament of something new happening through God. Do we perceive when God moves to do something new, to offer something new and beautiful into our lives? When people have an inkling of being interested in therapy but decided against it because of the stigma associated with the therapy or for some other more practical reasons, I think about this message from God in Isaiah. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? It says God moves us in subtle and quiet ways, and it can be hard for us to correctly identify what he's trying to do in our lives. He deeply wants us to be well, for our relationships to thrive, and to be focused on holiness. Say he wants us to freely leave behind the past that has been built holding us back and embrace what goodness he has waiting for us. Let's find the strength to open the door, see what God is making new in us, and walk through. So, same thing. Sometimes we feel stagnant in our relationship with God. We may feel that He's not responding to our needs. We're asking for something, or maybe we think that we're not growing in our uh, growth in a spiritual life. So, and I think that for that, I guess pray is the best thing you can do. Pray, pray, pray. Yeah, prayer is it's like a sport. You're trying to be binds are trying to hold you down. You're gonna knock them down. You're gonna cut them down, because prayer is gonna be able to help you to continue on, so you come out of that stagnation in your spiritual walk in life with God. What the saints say about feeling stagnant, and this is Saint Hema Galgani. Oh Jesus, how are you doing in the narrow cell of my heart? Are you all right? Expand my chest, because it is no longer enough to contain you. Jesus, allow me to pour out my affection with you. Very deep. It says that we may be more reluctant to say the same about our relationship with God. We are always trying to grow in holiness. We will not dare to allow relationship with Christ to go stagnant, right? But we do. It is said that we keep the one locked up and refuse to share it. If we open up about how our relationship with God can grow at stagnant times, we find great community of others who have experienced this, who can help and guide us in how to push forward to a thriving relationship with God, just as we're trying to do with our partner. So, like I said, that's reaching out to communities, but also we have the saints that went through the same thing. We can actually reach out to them. That's another option that we have to be able to help us when we're trying to move forward and we have the stagnation. And it talks about Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton. She said, God is like a looking glass in which souls see each other. The more united we are with Him by love, the nearer we are to those who belong to Him. Amazing. And it says that we see the importance of prayer, spiritual reading, and staying close to the sacraments. In addition to this practice, we see the life of the saints in shining examples that we can imitate in ways that they can make sense in our own lives. We can call our friends in heaven for help in our time of need, so they can intercede for God's will to be done to our relationship and our lives in general. And it talks about Saint Hema Galgani. She was born in 1878 in Italy. Hema was the fifth of 8 children. Her family made the decision soon after her birth to uproot and move to the city of Lucca to help give the children a chance at a better education. It says that unfortunately it was also at this time that her family went through a difficult trial. First, Hema's mother was diagnosed with tuberculosis, which later killed her, and several of Hema's siblings died. Then when Hema was just 16 years old, she contracted spinal meningitis, but was miraculously cured thanks to the intercession of Saint Gabriel of Our Lady of Sorrows and Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque. Just 2 years later, her father died and she was left an orphan. Her experience of suffering after suffering led her into a deep mystical relationship with our Lord. And in fact, she began to experience the the stigmata at the age of 21. She also experienced visitations from our Lord, Our Lady, and her guardian angel, in which she conversed with all of them. She also experienced at least one instance of levitating, so she could hug the crucifix hung on the wall with both of her arms in a deep embrace. Emma became so close to Christ that she once remarked, I am happy in every way that Jesus wills. And if Jesus wants the sacrifice of my life, I give it to him at once. If he wants anything else, I am ready. One thing alone is enough for me to be his victim in order to atone for my innumerable sins, and if possible, for those of the whole world. States also that her perseverance in the face of incredible trials, her refusal to allow her relationship with Christ to become stagnant or broken, even in the face of things that will make the best of us crumble, and her positive outlook on everything because of him whom she willingly suffered makes her an incredible patron to those of us wanting to leave behind those feelings of stagnancy and moving forward with loving, selfless, thriving relationships. Her intercession is vital for those of us trying to help our partners get to heaven. So it's good. So we have help. We have therapists. We have friends. Our spiritual community. Um, we have the saints. We have prayer. Jesus Christ. I mean, we have a lot of help. We have a lot of people that around us, and a lot of we have a lot of I'm thinking of the correct word, the resources to help us be able to overcome when we're in a stagnant relationship. And pretty much that's it on this chapter. And I'll just in brief, it says and I'll just read that. It says we can't ignore our relationship and expect it to thrive. We can't put things on autopilot and expect love to flourish. Stagnancy in a relationship is like a cancer that grows because of our permission and festers in all of our interactions because of our acceptance. In order to fix stagnation in a relationship, we must start slow and ask each other what will be helpful. We have to actively help each other out, going out of our way to be thoughtful in a way to show our love, commitment, and care for our partner. It says if you have been waiting for a push to get you and your partner to reach out for help, especially in the form of couples therapy, consider that push. And as a closing prayer from Pope John Paul II, people are made for happiness. Rightly then, you thirst for happiness. Christ has the answer to this desire of yours, but he asks you to trust him. And pretty much that's a very short chapter. But I guess all of us, I mean, we are. I think that probably all of us have experienced and that sense of feeling that sometimes we're not growing in our relationship with our partner, or something is happening where it's not flourishing the way it was before. We think we lost that fire. But I think that I mean, communicating is probably a very key, one of the biggest factors that we can have. And also, like the book says, be an active listener. Don't assume. Ask. Um, but communication is a big thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. I the chapter kind of opened my eyes because honestly, I didn't know what my wife and I were going through at the time until actually reading the chapter. We kind of are going through that situation, and a lot of it is, unfortunately, the stress that our three sons bring to the table, and when it talks about how you have to work on yourself first. It's kind of like if you've ever flown, and when they tell you that if cabin pressure goes down, the mask's going to drop.